and welcome into the Josh Ennis Show. Let me check my levels. A little peaking every now and then, but we'll deal with it. We welcome you into the show today. Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's Josh and Jilly and the always wonderful Mr. Luther Van Dam. Jilly, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm hungry. You got me all thrown off here.
I know. We gotta do the podcast, go get some pizza. I went to Specs to get some more beers because last night we didn't anticipate drinking 18 beers.
Well, I didn't anticipate being up till 3:15 in the morning, but
Drinking 18 beers. And I told this story on the air today, actually. The reason that I drank so many beers is because last night we're sitting around hanging out, and at one point you go, "This is weird that I'm drinking more than you." Like it was just one particular beer.
it was weird because I never beat you, and I was on my third, and you were on your second.
No, I actually had more than that, but it's fine. But it just set something off in me.
You're weird.
And I said, "Oh, you're challenging me now, huh, Bish? This is a challenge." So I said, "It's on now." And then I think after that I drank, because I think I ended up drinking like 13 beers.
Well, the problem is you put on YouTube, and once you put on YouTube, once you've been drinking, it doesn't stop. I actually thought last night was be like a quick 6-beer night, and boom, we're done.
It was not
What?
a quick 6-beer night and boom, we're done, though. It's a party. We partied last night and watched YouTube. I mean, that's about the equivalent of a party for us.
And that's what scares me is now tonight we're on so much later. All the sports are earlier. They're going to be done by 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you're going to put on YouTube again.
What's wrong with putting on YouTube? It's a good time.
It doesn't end well.
So, I enjoy it. You know what else I enjoy? Dr. Busby. Well, I enjoy Dr. Busby, the person. Luther enjoys the delicious supplements, the wonderful supplements, the game-changing supplements from Dr. Busby. And that is from ToeGrips.com. Luther takes the Encore Mobility, Dr. Busby's Encore Mobility. What is Dr. Busby's Encore Mobility? Well, it's a tasty little treat that helps dogs. It promotes hip and joint flexibility. It restores mobility and comfort, renews vigor and vitality. Let me tell you, man, Dr. Busby's got this great treat. Luther runs around like a wild man now. He's crazy. He goes to the park. He runs.
He does.
He goes to the park and almost plays with dogs on occasion. He's now back to jumping up on the couch, jumping into the car. He like last night we're hanging out. You're like, he's like a puppy. He had energy and we're playing all night. It was crazy.
Yeah.
You know Luther. He's a wild man. And now he's even wilder than he used to be. Thanks to Dr. Busby and ToeGrips.com. You can get the supplement there. You can also get the toe grips, which will help your dog walk around on wood floors, even if they struggle to do so due to age, arthritis, injury, surgery, disability. Well, good news. Your dogs can now walk and feel comfortable and confident walking on those hardwood floors, even if they're dealing with injury issues or age issues. That's with the toe grips. You can get that also at ToeGrips.com.
And the nail trimming kit.
All that. And Dr. Busby's great blog, everything, I tell you.
I sent you her blog link today about how to get picky dogs to take pills.
Well, Luther is certainly a picky dog.
She uses marshmallows.
Well, maybe we'll go to the store tomorrow and we will buy marshmallows to help Luther take his pills in the morning, his supplements. But 10% off if you use the promo code Luther, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. We love Dr. Busby. She's awesome. We appreciate her and Mr. Dr. Busby. Go to ToeGrips.com, 10% off if you use the promo code Luther, and you'll get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So not much you don't have anything to lose. Rock and roll, right? That's awesome. So what's going on in the world today? Today I had a beer on the air. I say I had a beer. I bought Nick and I each a 24-ounce Shiner Light Blonde. They had them at the gas station. A 24-ouncer. So basically I had 2 beers today.
Nice.
And it was fun. We had a good energetic show. It was a lot of singing.
It's Friday.
It is. And today I just didn't feel like it. Like I could have gotten on the air and I could have done, stuff about the protests at the games and the kneeling during the anthem.
You didn't break down the Rockets? Their restart tonight?
I didn't do that either.
What are you doing? You don't know sports.
Really, it started going in a more upbeat direction when some guy sent a message on Twitter, tweeted AJ, and said he was really put off by how I refer to the Rona as the Rona. Evidently, that's just offensive to this guy, and he had a problem with it. And AJ was like, well, Josh isn't the only one that does that. I do that, and Fred does it. Guy's like, well, I listen to you guys all the time, and I don't hear you say it, but I hear this, even though the guy just said I say it all the time.
Right.
So then I kind of went off on that for a little bit, and then it kind of got us going down, down the path of having a little bit more fun and playing music and getting stupid because it's Friday. And as far as the radio show goes, like if there's something that I really need to talk about, I'll talk about it. But like, I don't want the radio show to be a drag. I don't want the radio show to piss off half the people a lot of the time. That's what the podcast is for.
That's a good idea.
So on the radio, like, I could have talked about the guys taking a knee, and I probably would have had I not started, drinking a little bit, right, and having a good time. Like, it's worth talking about, but the way you approach it and everything can be different based on the audience. But from the radio side of things, I just want people to be in a good mood, get some commercial reads on there, make a couple of bucks, see where it goes, So that's the way I look at that. Now, because I had that stretch for a couple weeks where every topic was about social justice, and I get it because that's what the topics are, so I had to do them.
You were also trying to get on a conservative talk station.
That's true. But those are things you can also talk about just in a general talk, like on a podcast. Like there's no way we would have not talked about the story with
I was just more so
Bo-
saying that you've been doing, that stretch that you were on, you were like talking to a station, so you're trying to get audio.
Correct. And I said that on the air here. I said that like last week. I told them that there are days that I'm doing audio that can be used at a different type of radio station than the radio station I'm on. So I do that, and they know that, and they expect that, because as of right now, they don't have a full-time job for me there, and they'll probably never have a full-time job for me there. So they allow me to do some stuff I want, like sell T-shirts, where we sold damn near 300 T-shirts, which is pretty badass. It's awesome, right? In fact, it's funny, and we do our business with 97 Graphics, but we also really, really like our guys over at Running Game Clothing, and they actually designed the Josh Ennis Show logo. They're just awesome dudes. But I was looking at their Twitter today, a tweet popped up from Running Game Clothing, and they basically did the exact same concept. They did a Dusty Baker T-shirt with kind of a similar concept, right? So, like, there's this one. They put MF in instead on there. But...
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but they had that posted before your shirt.
Oh, really?
It was on Instagram the
night
they did?
Of.
Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever. I'm not saying they
Baker.
ripped us off. I'm saying it's just a trendy thing.
Everyone loves Dusty.
Well, here's the thing they have that I don't have, right? The advantage that guys at Running Game Clothing have is they can pump out a graphic in like 5 minutes because they have that. I don't make graphics, so I have to get in touch with my guys over at 97 Graphics, and they might have 10 other things they're working on, so they can't just expedite my thing. They're a T-shirt company, so they can do whatever they want. I need to find someone who I can contact and almost immediately get a graphic when I have an idea, because just like let the Dusty Baker thing be an example, right? If we wait one day on the Dusty Baker thing, it's over. You sell nothing. But because it was so hot that day and it was so big on the show and it was a huge topic on the show, we go from selling maybe 10 shirts to selling 300 shirts, and that's a little ching-a-ling, and that's how your boy stays afloat. So that's why I need to find someone. And listen, the guys at 97 Graphics do a good job.
No, they turned that around quick. That was good.
But the thing is, though, and I was talking with the guys, David over there, and he said, listen, we got it done for you, but it's hard to do it on such short notice. So I need to be able to pick up a phone and call someone who can make graphics and just go, listen, give me something in an hour, do the best you can, because we need to get this on a T-shirt. Because in the T-shirt game, especially a specific T-shirt like the one we did, like, it's all about how quick and how timely it is.
Yeah, Barstools gets these things out immediately, too.
Well, and that's the thing is they design the graphic real fast, put the T-shirt up, and then they people start ordering, so I get that. It is a very lucrative game, this T-shirt game, especially with the way Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you get that thing on there and it gets shared. Like, you can sell, based on the deal I have with 97 Graphics, we have a good relationship, right? Like, you sell a couple hundred shirts, it's a nice little chunk, and it keeps the podcast going. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie to people and say it doesn't. It's not a charity. I'm not, the money in that particular case isn't going to a charity, we are the charity. We are the business.
Well, it helps out 97 Graphics, too. They're a local business. They need it, too.
I mean, that's found money for them. When they woke up 2 days ago, they weren't anticipating having a situation where they were going to, be able to sell 300 T-shirts and make money. So it's great for a local business. I still need to get the guys from Running Game Clothing to get me the Luther Bones and Hose podcast T-shirt because I think we could sell the hell out of some Bones and Hose T-shirts. Really, I just need them to get me a graphic. If they can get me the graphic for it and get it over to my guys over at 97 Graphics, which is obviously a different type of T-shirt company, right? Like
Right.
97 Graphics isn't so much in the business of selling unique T-shirts. They do big bulk orders for baseball teams and businesses, whereas Running Game Clothing is specifically there to sell T-shirts, unique T-shirts. So we'll see, but I do want to get the Luther Van Dam Bones and Hose T-shirt done at some point because I think people would eat up the Luther Van Dam Bones and Hose podcast T-shirt. But anyway, thanks to everybody who bought the T-shirts. Very successful there. They went to print today unless you ordered a 4XL, which they didn't get those shirts in yet, so that'll be a day or two. But if you ordered a T-shirt, one of these T-shirts with the Dusty Baker logo, well, congrats to you because you're going to get those T-shirts here pretty soon. Now, other stuff that's going on in the universe. Jilly, how long until baseball shuts down in your estimation?
I told you. I've been saying it's going to shut down since the Marlins thing first broke.
Well, now
I don't
you've got
give
the
it long.
Cardinals with their thing, and now did you see the latest with baseball where they threw out the ultimatum? Manfred did. He's like, if we don't figure this out.
Yep.
And I'm actually on his side. I
And
see that
every
everybody's
team-
ripping him, but I'm actually on his
Do
side.
you see that basically every team's getting a babysitter?
Well, you have to have. I mean, listen.
I forget the official title. It's not babysitter, obviously, but it's
Chaperone?
like
I
the
don't know.
something of health, conduct, blah, 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 blah. And basically it's to make sure that these guys don't go out. And I guess the Marlins, the internal investigation found that a lot of the guys were at the hotel bar.
Well,
So
that's
while
the
they
thing.
thought that they weren't going out, to be fair to the Marlins, they were at a bar still, and evidently it spread.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to do this, if you don't want to be in a bubble, and I don't blame them, I wouldn't have wanted to spend 5 months in a bubble. I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, basketball doesn't have to spend that long. They get a handful of games in the regular season, and then, the playoffs will happen, then it's over. I wouldn't want to spend a whole stretch of time in a bubble, so I don't blame guys. I'm not going to judge them for that. But if baseball is going to give you the opportunity to travel instead of being in a bubble and live at home instead of being in a bubble, don't be assholes. I think that's the best way to put it. Don't be an asshole. Like you got to sacrifice. Don't go out to the bars. Don't go out to eat at restaurants. It sucks when you're on the road. You're going to be in a hotel. That's what you got to do. If you're at home, you're going to be at home. The average person can go to a restaurant in most cities. You put on a mask, you walk in, you eat, you put on the mask to leave. A lot of places are like that. It's like that here in Houston. You can go to Walmart. You can go to other places. Listen, if you want to keep these $1 million deals in place and you want to play baseball for the rest of the year, then here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to sacrifice. Now, I understand baseball players don't understand sacrifice anymore because when you have a runner at second and nobody out
boy.
and you need a run to win the
boy.
damn game, all you have to do is sacrifice that runner over to third. So it makes sense that these jabronis don't understand about sacrifice. Of course they wouldn't know about sacrifice because they don't even know about sacrificing on the field and they cost me a big hit. But anyway. As far as that goes, you're going to have to sacrifice. So that's what it comes down to. It's bizarre that they have to do it publicly. It's bizarre that the commissioner's basically throwing down the gauntlet and saying, if you can't get your guys in order, we're not playing, right? It's childish. I get it. They're doing their business in public. I get it. But at this point, I'm still on the side of the commissioner. I was not opposed to playing games outside of a bubble. At this point, we have still not seen that it's failed outside of the bubble. I think that's fair to say because one team was completely out of line in what they were doing. And they brought their own into the league. Like, say you're the Cardinals. Cardinals have 2 cases. Are we going to be at a point where you shut down a team for a week because they have a case or 2? If that's going to be what happens, then maybe you do have to shut it down.
If the Marlins thing didn't happen, I believe they said this, if the Marlins outbreak didn't happen, they would not have canceled the Cardinals-Brewers game today. They would have just sent the 2 guys home.
But then the Cardinals would have been the Marlins eventually.
Yes, because that would have spread through the team. So what do? I give this till next week to answer your original question.
So do you think it's done
They're
within a
shutting
week?
this thing down next week. I will be surprised if they play that doubleheader tomorrow, the Cardinals and Brewers.
Really? Well, I mean, because obviously if you can't play today, what makes a difference tomorrow?
Right.
That's kind of the
Because
issue.
they're going to test again tonight or tomorrow probably.
But let's say they test and they say that nobody's got it. Well, the incubation period, as they say, is 7 to 10 days. So do you just throw people out there? That's where they're going to run into the biggest issue. And these guys were irresponsible, these Marlins players. These guys, they should kick the Marlins out, relegate the Marlins. They have soiled this thing. I don't think baseball had a bad idea. I don't think it was a horrible plan they had. Because it was kind of a guinea pig. If you're looking for a positive in baseball potentially failing, it's kind of they were the guinea pig for football. And maybe now you look at football and you say, well, maybe we do need to find some sort of bubble for football because traveling's not going to go well with the great number of players we have.
Well,
now, it's easier to keep football players, like college players, in control because they're on a campus. But as far as pro football players go, it's going to be it's like this kind of gives you the groundwork. You were the guinea pigs in this case. They were the experiment. And so far, it looks like it's going to fail.
Well, obviously, every football team just needs to come play at NRG because Bill O'Brien has that place spotless.
You can eat off the floor, he says.
Eat off the floor.
I think I'd like to give that a try. Hey, did you say we're going to eat off the floor? I think I'd like to do that.
Holy smokes, John.
Yeah, I'd like, why don't you put down some, I don't know, there was a time I ate off the floor. Love You Blue was there.
Holy smokes, John.
You know what O'Brien was doing today, though?
We were messing with the Zoom.
He was messing with the Zoom today.
He was. It felt good to see him.
I love when Bill O'Brien is messing with the Zoom. My favorite thing ever is that. Now, let me see here if anybody posted on this. Let me see. Let's see. We were just messing with the Zoom. I posted that. This picture's great.
I know. That should be your new profile picture.
I
He's
think
like
it should
looking
be.
like just possessed, looking directly into the camera of the Zoom.
At certain angles, he's kind of got a midget face, kind of. He's got he's kind of got that. Or like Vigo the Carpathian, if Vigo the Carpathian were a little person. But I love when Bill is messing with the Zoom.
We were messing with the Zoom.
And he had thoughts today, too, because he said, listen, we're keeping this thing in line. We got this. We're keeping this in check. Okay, I got this. You know what's weird? I think I actually have more trust for Bill O'Brien when it comes to this infectious disease and this virus than I do Fauci.
Well, why not? I mean, what did Bill say today? That, like, from a coaching standpoint, he's made sure to educate his guys about the false news out there and what you actually have to know about the Rona. So, I mean, Bill knows some stuff.
Yep, see?
He's got his special needs son, so he has to be on top of it, honesty,
that's
in all
actually
seriousness.
true. It's like the same thing with like Matt Moscona. He and I talk frequently about this.
Matt's
kid has his issues, so he's used to this kind of stuff, as it relates to masks and everything. So I would assume that Bill O'Brien's got I mean, like, in all honesty, he's got a pretty good handle of that because in his house, he doesn't want his kid to die.
All jokes aside, I think, I would kind of trust what Bill has to say.
You know what? Bill O'Brien's got all the answers, damn it. My man Billy, he's got it, okay? I trust him more than Fauci. I just wish that maybe he had talked to Brock about this. Maybe, like, Coach has done a good job of explaining to us, what it takes to get into the...
Can you imagine if Brock was still in the league and someone asked him about the coronavirus?
Oh, God, it'd be spectacular. Well, Coach, the thing about the coronavirus is it's a virus. And a virus, I have not dealt with this type of virus in the National Football League, in an NFL game, or in the NFL before. Now, Coach has told us that, we got to do everything we can. We got to do our part.
He's done a good job of explaining that.
Coach has done a great job of explaining that to us.
Ultimately, to get into the playoffs, one way to do that is to win your division. And Coach has done a great job of explaining that to us.
I think Coach would do a spectacular job of explaining it to him about the Rona and how to fight the Rona.
Can someone just invite Brock to camp so that we can just have someone ask him about the Rona? I don't care which team it is. Someone has to.
Here's a great one from somebody in the chat. Don't cancel the season. Counsel the season.
That's right.
In Stephen A. voice.
The cancel culture as opposed to adopting the counseling culture.
There you go.
That's right.
You know what? That's the way it goes. That's a very good point that you guys have brought up. But you know what? I want to challenge them. I want to go eat off the floor at NRG. And I'll tell you, Luther says, I want to eat on, Dad, I want to eat on the floor. I'll eat on the floor anyway. We have dirty floors at home anyway, and I'll eat off of that floor. So if we're going to do that, then why don't we just eat on the floor? Why don't we do that, Dad? Let's do that. Let's eat on the floor. Hey, Bill, I want to come over. Hey, Bill, it's Luther. Hey, just checking in. Look, hey, I want Luther to somehow infiltrate the Zoom. Like it's some sort of hostile takeover of the Zoom, and like Luther's face pops up and people are trying to get out of it. They're like, how is Luther in here? Who is this? Like Luther's like a hologram that pops up.
We need to find someone who knows how to hack into Zoom conferences. And
like Dr. Evil, but Luther would be Dr. Evil, And he gets in there and he's like, hey guys, look at me. I'm messing with the Zoom.
We were messing with the Zoom.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mess on the Zoom. Let me tell you something.
Tell Easterby I said what's up.
Hey, listen, first of all, tell Easterby that Luther's here and he wants to eat on your floor.
We were messing with the Zoom.
Yeah, so mess with the Zoom, please. I'd really like to mess on the Zoom if you don't mind. But anyway, so, we'll see. Like, I understand that teams are going to want to play in their stadiums in football, but maybe baseball has exposed that that's not possible.
If they cancel baseball, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to come up with a new plan for football, college and pro.
Yes, I would think so. College might still be somewhat easier because dudes are on a campus anyway, and they're kind of easier to control in a way. But pros, man, like, I don't know. Now, let's see. Like, I'm still not convinced the baseball season's over. I have not convinced myself of that. But if two guys, like in the Cardinal situation, if two dudes get the Rona,
Yep.
and you have to stop the game that day and then the next day, and like somehow they sit out for a week until you have that whole incubation period to see if they passed it on to anybody else, then the season's not sustainable because every team is going to have somebody get the Rona somehow because they're at home. Who knows what they're doing on their own time? They don't each have an individual chaperone, so someone has the chance to get the Rona. And if that's how it's going to be handled, if you get two players that test positive and they're going to shut you down until 7 or 10 days, the season cannot happen. It's over at that point.
If you had to guess, which two players on the Cardinals you think got the Rona?
Oh boy, that's fun. Which players? So, like, to me, it seems like it'd be younger dudes because younger dudes might be going out and doing
Now,
stuff.
see, my guess was Tsunami.
Oh yeah, I think Tsunami is a good answer.
Carlos Martinez, that is.
Yeah, I think you know what? I believe that.
And then all I have to do
he is Hispanic, and the Rona is targeting Hispanics and Black folks. So
all I'd have to do is look at his gram too and see who he's been posting with, because he always has like his little running mates, and then I bet we could figure out
who it is based on that. Yeah, like I don't see Paul Goldschmidt being a guy that was out, but who knows?
Also, he pitched like shit the other day. Maybe it's because he had the Rona.
You know what? That's a solid excuse for being awful. Yeah, I'd use that excuse. Who can get mad at you? Hey, I had the Rona. What do you want from me? But like the Phillies, for instance, you look at the Phillies, they still have nobody that's tested positive, and it's been a week. If it's been a week, at this point, you feel kind of comfortable in assuming they didn't get it. They started that series a week ago, and I still think the season has a chance to survive if you see that the Rona is not being transmitted on the field. I think there's a positive thing there. And maybe football looks at that and says, okay, the Rona's not transmitted on the field, even though that's clearly a different type of game. That's a contact sport. You're laying on top of people. In baseball, you're not laying on top of people. There's baseball's like the ultimate social distance sport. Like, unless there's a runner on base, no one's standing next to anybody. They're all 60 feet apart anyway, and sometimes even farther. So
Speaking of that, that's my other favorite thing. There was already the thing where they can't exchange jerseys after the game, even though they've been, hitting each other and on top of each other. I also like the new rule now where only one captain can go out for the coin toss.
Like, that'll change. The good news. We're stopping the spread of Rona.
30 seconds later, you guys are just going to tackle each other and then, whatever. But one person for that coin toss.
Well, we've solved it. Everything is solved
Nothing
now.
makes sense.
But I am optimistic only because nobody involved with the Phillies' actual team has gotten the Rona. So I'm optimistic about that baseball will continue.
Now I bet
that football can learn from this.
If there is one positive player on the Phillies, we're shutting the whole thing down immediately. That's my guess.
You would have to think because you've shut them down, and if someone's got it, then you have to re-shut them down because who knows if that one player. And that's the other hard part about this virus. It's not like everybody's going to get it all at once.
Right.
Because you go, well, this guy's got it, and you go, well, nobody else has tested positive. Yeah, but who's to say they won't test positive tomorrow?
Right. That's where it's hard. And then there are delays in testings already. So I don't know how you do it, honestly.
We have got issues here is what we've got, kiddos. Now, before we get into anything else, we got a lot, including Fauci, who's the dude, Jim Jordan.
Some fella from Ohio.
So we've got a battle there. Because you know what? As I told you, I trust Bill O'Brien more than I trust Fauci. You can call me a Trumper. You can say all these horrible things about me. Tell me I'm racist, a bigot. Tell me I'm a moron. Tell me I'm killing people. I do not trust Fauci. I have zero trust for that fella. None whatsoever. But with that said, I trust Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien wouldn't lie to us. My man that messes with the Zoom, he would not lie. But Fauci could lie. We'll play that audio for you. We got this NBA fella that decided to stand for the anthem and not wear a Black Lives Matter shirt, which I respect the hell out of. Not because I'm anti-black people, but I am anti these grand gestures, these empty gestures that mean nothing, like writing Black Lives Matter on the court and wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts, which will eventually be sold by Nike. Like, come on. Like that means nothing. It's a gesture. It's not real action. And that's exactly what this guy said. And I respect the hell out of him for it. So we'll get into that. But who do I have to tell them about, Jilly?
Concrete chemistry.
Concrete chemistry. Where concrete can be concrete and make it shiny and pretty and beautiful. not your run-of-the-mill concrete. This is like that shiny, good-looking stuff. Let me put up a graphic here for you guys to see. Is that it? Nope. Is that it? Nope. There it is. How about that? Look at that polished concrete. Resinous flooring projects. Look at that. Like that, you got a shot there about an airplane hangar, big fancy airplane hangar. You see the kind of concrete like when you walk around like a brewery.
Yeah.
You know, you see that good shiny retail or commercial or industrial concrete that's shiny and beautiful. Well, there you go. And the people responsible for that are Concrete Chemistry, right? They design and install resinous and polished concrete floor systems for commercial, industrial, and institutional applications. And in response to the Rona, they're offering virtual job site walks and virtual project estimates via Google Duo. So give them a call, 713-497-4701, 713-497-4701. Of course, their website is concretechemistry.com. Eric Daly is the president. Good dude. And if you need them, they're there. And by the way, you can put this in your home, too. We talked about that before with Gamma and the guys. They put this in there as well. So in some of their houses. So Concrete Chemistry, concretechemistry.com is the website. Anybody else?
Aqueduct Plumbing is our newest guy.
Yes, we do
So
have
we
to
want
mention Aqueduct.
give them some love. They'll
Give
be
them some
officially
love.
on Monday.
Yes, that is officially the new start with Aqueduct Plumbing. They were with us in our time in 790 for a while. They're here in the Houston area. Their website is aqueductplumbingcompany.com. That is Billy and his sister Mary over at Aqueduct. And check them out. They came over to the house for us. We had the sink issue, came over, quick work, good people, nice folks. And then, boom, job's done, and they can do that for you as well. They are residential and commercial plumbers, and they will help you guys out. And that means we'll have an opportunity to play a toilet flush drop.
Which is what you have missed most.
Yes. So I need to get a toilet flush drop. Maybe I'll get one tomorrow before we do the Saturday night show, which I'm assuming we're going to do. But who knows? I would assume we will. We'll check in and we'll let you guys know. But they do, hot water heaters, drain cleaning, leak detection, new construction, repiping, gas piping, remodels. They do it all for you. Aqueduct Plumbing Company for Billy and his sister Mary, 281-488-6238. And make sure you mention us. If you do want to do business with them, mention the show, mention the Josh Ennis Show. That happened for New Breaks, who I'm going to start doing endorsements for on Monday on the radio. Someone already contacted them. I think that Daniel Batchelor said he did that on here.
Yay.
That reached out and they needed some break stuff done, and they mentioned Josh Ennis Show. That's huge. That's huge if it happens that way. So it helps us out big time. So that is our friends over at Aqueduct Plumbing Company. Make sure you mention the Josh Ennis Show anytime you do business with any of our sponsors, because that just helps us out greatly. All right. So let's start here with this one. This is the audio of, what's this guy's name? Jim Jordan?
He is a representative from Ohio, Republican, obviously.
Maybe this is why conservative radio wasn't for me. I don't know who the hell this guy is, and honestly, I don't care who this guy is.
I didn't know who he was until I saw this trending.
But the good news in all this is that he went at it with old Fauci.
He did.
And you know how I feel. I do not like old Fauci.
He didn't let up either. The audio is actually just really entertaining.
All right, so this is Jim Jordan, Representative Jim Jordan, who is taking this stance of, well, if you say that going outside is bad and being in big crowds is bad, then why can we have protests? Which is a valid question.
Yes.
All this pandering and bullshit that we're getting from people where you can protest, but somehow you can't go to ball games or whatever. It's absurd. But here is Jim Jordan with Fauci. Here we go.
Chairman, Dr. Fauci, do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Here's one thing for you. When they ask, here's a little trick. If someone asks the question back to themselves,
He's trying to figure out what the hell to say.
he's trying to find the right thing to say. That's right out of the chute. He's
Yep.
already a fraud on this.
I can make a general statement.
Well, 500,000 protesters on June 6th alone.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, that number of
No.
people, does
Yeah.
it increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
And keep in mind about the mask, he is the guy that said masks would not work. Now he wants you to wear goggles.
Limit the protesting?
I'm not sure what you mean. How do we say limit the protesting?
Should government limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus, I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make up.
I mean, I think you kind of are, considering that you recommend that the government shut things down. I mean, so you're clearly in a position to make recommendations. Don't be.
He gets into that.
Okay.
Recommendations. You,
No.
you made comments on dating, on baseball, on everything
No.
you can imagine. I'm just asking you. Just said
Yeah.
that protests increase the spread.
No.
I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you.
Government
that-
stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Last week in the Calvary Chapel case, 5 liberals on the Supreme Court said it was okay for Nevada to limit church services. Justice Gorsuch said it best. He said there's no world in which the Constitution permits Nevada to favor Caesar's Palace over Calvary Chapel. I'm just asking, is there a world where the Constitution says you can favor one First Amendment liberty, protesting,
Right.
over another, practicing your faith?
I'm not favoring anybody over anybody. I'm just making a statement that's a broad statement that avoid crowds of any type, no matter where you are, because that leads to the acquisition and transmission. And I don't judge one crowd versus another crowd. When you're in a crowd, particularly if you're not wearing a mask, that
But
induces the spread.
it's a simple question, doctor. Should we limit the protests? Government is obviously limiting people going to church. And look,
I'm not
there's been no violence that I can see at church. I haven't seen people during a church service go out and harm police officers or burn buildings. But we know that, I mean, for 63 days, 9 weeks, it's been happening in Portland.
Right. Yeah.
Well, one night in Chicago, 49 officers were injured. But no limit to protests, but boy, you can't go to church on Sunday.
It's interesting. Again, I'm all about wearing the mask. You need to wear a mask. But when you deal with these kind of hypocrisies where you're busy pandering to people, and that's what this is, allowing people to protest and then suggesting that everything else not happen.
Yep.
Right. But being so out there and saying and being so passionate that people should be able to protest, you set yourself up for being considered a hypocrite. You set yourself up for this kind of attack. Fauci is part of that. The politicians are part of that. You set yourself up for this. You have guys up in New York saying, hey, listen, just so you know, we are going to shut everything down other than protests. It's obviously political, and this guy's calling them on it, and good.
I don't know how many times I can answer that. I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm just going to tell you.
You've
as a
opined on a lot of things, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, but I've never
This
said
is
to
something that
limit it.
directly impacts the spread of the virus, and I'm asking your position on the protest.
Yeah, I'm not going to opine on limiting anything. I'm telling you what it is, the danger. And you can make your own conclusion about that. You should stay away from crowds, no matter where the crowds are.
Government has stopped people from going to work. In fact, just in New Jersey 4 days ago, Ian Smith, Frank Trombetta were arrested for trying to operate their business, their gym. They were arrested. But my bet is if these two individuals own this gym were outside just in front of their gym, and all the people who were working out in their gym were outside protesting, they'd been just fine. But because they were in the gym working out, actually running their business, they got arrested. You think that's okay?
I'm digging this.
Yeah.
I'm digging now. And it's kind of the way I feel about the bar versus restaurant debate, too. So explain to me how if I'm eating dinner in a restaurant but drinking a beer, that's fine. But I can't drink a beer outside at an outside bar because they don't serve 51% food. I'm digging into these hypocrisies here. I like it. And by the way, these are all legitimate questions and a legitimate debate.
Yeah, this guy came prepared. He's got exact.
I like it. They're painting this Fauci into a corner. And here's the thing about Fauci. Fauci is enjoying the fame. Somebody said that in here, and I agree with it. Fauci is enjoying the fame. He was on he's on the cover of magazines, wearing sunglasses. I think he is enjoying the fame. He's throwing out first pitches. I don't think he's an idiot by any means, but he has been wrong about things. And people treat him like he's never been wrong about anything. That's an issue. I'm all about wearing the mask, be safe, social distance, don't shake hands, whatever. I'm all about that stuff. That's totally fine. Not an issue with me, but I'm enjoying the back and forth, and really not even a back and forth because Fauci's getting worked
Well,
here.
this is his response now to the guys that got arrested for operating their gym.
You know, I'm not going to opine on who gets arrested and who does not. I mean, you get where I'm going. I'm telling you, as a public health official, I say crowds.
Do you see the inconsistency, though, Dr. Fauci?
There's no inconsistency, Congressman.
What? There's no so you're allowed to protest, millions of people on one day in crowds yelling, screaming, but you try to run your business, you get arrested? And if you stood right outside of that same business and protested, you wouldn't get arrested? You don't see an inconsistency there?
I don't understand what you're asking me as a public health official to opine on who should get arrested.
Oh, don't play. Okay, and don't play that game with me either. Don't play the I'm just a lowly public health official. You are the face of this whole thing. You're the guy that people trust the most with these things. So don't play that. Don't play that.
I love I don't see any inconsistencies.
I don't see any inconsistency. I'm just a lowly official. Like, it's not my thing. Oh, trust me, you've made suggestions, bro. Come on.
That's not my position. You could ask
No,
it as much as you
you've
want,
advocated for
and I'm
certain
not gonna
businesses.
answer it.
You've advocated for certain businesses to be shut down. I'm just asking you on your position on the protest. I haven't seen one. We've heard a lot about hair salons. I haven't seen one hairstylist who, between haircuts, goes out and attacks police or sets something on fire. But we've seen all kinds of that stuff during protests, and we know the protest actually increased the spread of the virus. You've said that.
I said crowds. I didn't say specifically. I didn't say protest do anything.
So the protest.
And by the way, again, I understand what's happening here. This is politics. This is a conservative politician politicking, but that's the world we've created. Everything is about politics. And I get that. I see somebody in here says JJ is doing some grandstanding. Of course he's doing some grandstanding. That's what politics is. This is politics. But I'm all for it. I get where he's coming from on this. I'm down with it completely.
Won't increase the spread of the virus?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, I just want an answer to the question. Do the protests increase the spread of the virus?
I don't have any scientific evidence that anything. I can tell you that crowds are known, particularly when you don't have a mask, to increase the acquisition and transmission.
Then say yes. Say, I can imagine that 50,000 people or 60,000 people in one place will have a negative impact on this thing. What's wrong with saying that? Like, what is wrong with that? I mean, like, they're afraid to say it. People are so afraid of being called racist or bigoted that they can't just sit here and say, yes, protesting is probably not the best thing to do. It's a bad idea. And he's doing everything he can to dance around it. Like, you sit there and talk about, like basically what you're doing here is you're being a coward. You are a coward.
No matter
So
what
you don't
the
have a
crowd is.
position on whether the protests increase the spread of the virus or don't increase the spread of the virus?
I'm saying that crowds, wherever the crowds are, can give you an increased probability that there's going to be acquisition and transmission.
But do you understand Americans' concern? Protesting, particularly according to the Democrats, is just fine, but you can't go to work, you can't go to school, you can't go to church. There's limits placed on all three of those fundamental activities, First Amendment activities, but protesting is just fine.
You know,
The gentleman's time has expired, but I'll just ask the gentleman to just think about his question and put it in reference to crowds that gather at political meetings, at fundraisers without masks, on an oil rig in Texas.
What I enjoy is that my man here, though, his mask is off while he's doing this. He's got a mask, but he takes the mask off to talk.
Nobody wearing a mask, nobody social distancing, but a fundraiser.
Right.
Would that be problematic? With that, I'll yield 5 minutes to Mr. Foster.
There you go.
I just love that.
Enjoy
So you're
it.
saying protests? No, I said crowds.
And listen, I get where Fauci's coming from. It's not his place to determine what happens and what doesn't happen, right?
Right.
But he's also gutless, like a lot of these politicians are, who have this fear, and it's a legit fear of questioning these protests because they're afraid of being called racist.
Our friend from Ohio wasn't, because it's exactly what he's being called.
What's that? Racist?
Racist
Oh,
and-
so that's what he's being called? He's
Racist
being called a
and a
racist
bully and
because
all
he's
that stuff,
asking
you know?
how you can have thousands of people protesting something, yet 10 people are at a church and it's terrible. And by the way, you say there's no scientific evidence. Every story we read says, well, like, and they kind of move the goalposts a little bit on some of this stuff.
Well, this is my favorite one. This tweet's gotten like 1,000 likes. Does anyone else wish that Jim Jordan was as forceful and adamant about preventing young boys from getting raped and sexually abused under his nose at Ohio State?
Oh, come on.
Like, again, it's not the same thing.
Like, but that's finding false equivalencies, right? That's trying to say, well, why don't you care as much about this than this? No, you're trying to take attention away from the fact that these politicians are scared shitless. And yes, look, Jim Jordan, when he is doing his grandstanding, it is politics. It is, I get what he's doing. It's all politics. But Fauci can't play stupid. Fauci can't play, oh, I'm just a lowly guy. I don't make these decisions. then tell me, do you think it is unsafe for thousands of people to be protesting? He should have, I don't know that he actually asked the question in that way, because he was clearly like, he had a motive going into this.
No, he totally
His motive was to go out there and attack Fauci over that stuff.
But
Fine.
I think he asked that question basically several times, saying, so protesting
but
spreads the
he should-
virus. And then Fauci would be like, no,
but
I
it-
said
but there was-
crowds, not protests.
But it's
Well,
a
protest
leading
is a
question.
crowd.
What he should have done is flat out asked, do you believe
I think
it
he
is-
did.
Okay, I got to go back and hear it again. I don't know that he ever specifically asked it in that way. I might have missed it, but let me see here. Let me go back a little bit. Hold on.
Official. I say crowds.
Do you see the inconsistency, though, Dr. Fauci?
See, that question is kind of irrelevant. Do you see the inconsistency? Yes, there's an inconsistency, but he needs to answer the question, and the specific question needs to be, do you believe that it is dangerous to
I
be...
think that's the first question asked.
Let me go back again then. Hold on.
Do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Okay, my bad. Okay, I'm an
I think
idiot.
I can make a general statement.
Well, 500,000 protesters on June 6th alone.
Yeah.
I'm just asking that number of
No.
people, does
Yeah.
it increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
Should we limit the protesting?
I'm not sure what you mean. How do we say limit the protesting?
Should government limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to.
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus, I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the.
See, but here, and this is where he's wrong. He is in that position because you should say, look, and he's afraid to say it, but just say, we should not be protesting. Because really what Fauci wants to say is everybody needs to be the fuck at home. Because
Yep.
that's been his stance forever. So it should, if Fauci could have ended this thing if he said, yes, we should stop protesting if we truly want this thing. Because what do we hear all the time about the virus, right? It's if we wear masks for 2 weeks, we can help limit this thing, right? We hear that all the time. We hear it constantly. It is if we put on masks for 2 weeks, mask up for a month, thing will start really crushing this thing. Then 2 months later, it'll be, well, we really need to mask up, right? So if he would just step up in this, which he won't because it's all politics, right? He won't do it, but he should say, if we really wanted to nip this thing in the bud right now, then nobody should be out protesting, right? But he's not going to do that, right? Let me see here.
Can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You make comments on dating, on baseball, on everything you can imagine. I'm just asking you, just said that protests increase the spread. I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell.
See, and what he's doing, it's very convenient what he's doing. He's not answering the question and he's deflecting when he could. I mean, he's not asking you if, he knows that you don't have the power to do it. He knows that you don't have the power to say no protest, but you have the power to suggest to somebody in power that they shouldn't protest,
Much like
and you will not do that.
Suggested that people don't go to work and suggested that people don't go to church. And
Yep. But, and he just plays stupid very conveniently, this Fauci does. Very, just it's stupid. But it is what it is. The other thing that people are engaged in conversation about today is Jonathan Isaac, who is the NBA player, who is the lone player to stand last night, and he explained why. I'm guessing he's getting ripped, if I had to guess. Also, Charles Barkley got ripped last night because he said that you're not a bad person if you don't kneel for the national anthem, which shouldn't be that bold of a statement. It
Not
shouldn't
at
be
all.
like it became controversial and people are ripping Chuck because he said he don't think. Listen, whether you like it or not, Black Lives Matter and taking a knee is a political stance, and not everybody wants to be part of it, and not everybody should have to be a part of it. It's very possible, and this guy says this Jonathan Isaac says it. He says, listen, I believe that Black Lives Matter. I'm a black man, but I don't believe that T-shirts and kneeling prove anything. And of course it doesn't. Again, we talk about gestures versus actions, right? Gestures versus action. Action is what you do on a daily basis. A gesture is what you do when you're trying to make a big, bold move, right? When you want people to see it, right?
well, this is more of a gesture to me than taking a knee. This took some balls to do.
Well, this guy, I would argue.
This kid.
I'd say that this is act, but he was asked a question. Oh, you're talking about not taking or
Yeah.
standing? No, but that's action. That's not a gesture because, again, the gesture is what everybody's doing, right?
Well, I'm saying if we're saying gesture versus gesture, this is a bigger gesture to me, is not conforming and not doing something that you would be forced into doing.
Sure.
This kid's only 22 years old, and he's like, nope.
But see, his argument in this was that he doesn't really believe that T-shirts and taking a knee help, right? And you and I both know, we talked about it yesterday with the NHL thing and the NHL allegedly being racist because they don't do enough. Dude, wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt at a basketball game, you're doing that because you're afraid of what the reaction will be if you don't. So it's just a gesture. It means nothing. It doesn't fix anything. It pacifies people and makes them feel like they're doing something when they're really not. But this is Jonathan Isaac, who I believe is an ordained minister.
Oh.
So am I. So we have that.
Yours may have run out.
It might have been. Maybe I need to get my stuff redone. I don't know. I need to get my new papers. But Jonathan Isaac is this guy's name, and he was asked about why he stood for the national anthem.
Hey, so I have a two-part question.
Hey.
So you didn't kneel during the anthem, but you also didn't wear a Black Lives Matter shirt. Do you believe that Black Lives Matter?
By the way, I love that question. He's a black guy. Like, do you think he's going to say, let me tell you about black people? Boy, we're pieces of shit, huh? By the way, that's a bullshit question. That is an absolute garbage question from this lady asking a black man if he believes Black Lives Matter.
It should have probably been, do you believe in the message of Black Lives Matter?
But the thing is, they try to mix it up. They try to make it seem like the organization Black Lives Matter is the same thing as the idea that Black Lives Matter, and it's complete bullshit, okay? They are two totally different things, and this chick's like, what a dumb broad. What a horrible question. And because she obviously wants to ask that question, so it goes viral, and she's the one that said, do you believe, like, he's a black dude. Do you honest to God believe that a black dude doesn't believe that Black Lives Matter? Please, lady. I mean, do better.
Absolutely. I believe that Black Lives Matter. A lot went into my decision, and part of it is, first off, is my thought that, kneeling or wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt don't go hand in hand with supporting Black lives. And so I felt like, just me personally, and what it is that I believe in, standing on the stance that I do believe that Black Lives Matter, but I just felt like it was a decision that I had to make, and I didn't, feel like putting that shirt on and kneeling went hand in hand with supporting Black lives, or that it made me support Black lives or not. I believe that for myself, my life has been supported through the gospel.
And then he starts getting into like religious stuff.
I think that Drew Brees needs to give this guy a talking to.
I think so too. Like, how great would that be? You get one of these really tight videos of Drew Brees holding up his own phone, and he's like, listen, I am Drew Brees, and let me tell you about this Jonathan Isaac. Someone needs to educate this kid because he doesn't get it. Jonathan Isaac, you don't get it, bro. You don't understand the struggle that black folks have gone through. I, Drew Brees, understand this because I watched a documentary the other day, and I now understand the struggle of black folks. You don't understand. You know what? You need to get read a book.
And wearing a t-shirt do go hand in hand with Black Lives Matter. So
Meltzer wants this guy to read a book, from what I understand.
Oh, I bet he does.
But that's a terrible question. That is a bogus, terrible question by a terrible reporter. I don't know who the hell it was, but I automatically think this person's a terrible person because, again, that's the issue. So somehow, if you don't take a knee during the national anthem or wear a shirt to make some big grand gesture or write peace or unity on the back of your jersey or your sneaker, somehow you don't like black people. That's pathetic. Is what that is. It's garbage is what it is. And that's it's really hysterical. Think about the absurdity of this. You are asking a black man, a young black man in the NBA, you are asking this guy if he believes Black Lives Matter. A black man. You're asking him this. Like, think about, like, it's not even balls to say that. Like, I would say, boy, that's a ballsy question. It's really not. You're a dummy is what you are. You are a stupid human being. That is a garbage question that is being asked, so it'll go viral. You could have asked that question a million different ways. Here's where you could have started. You could have said, why? That's the question you should have asked. Why did you not take a knee, and why did you not wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt? To pontificate in this, to assume that he doesn't believe Black Lives Matter because he's not a shill that puts on a stupid t-shirt and takes a knee during the anthem. Empty gestures. The fact that he doesn't do that, he must be a horrible human that doesn't believe that Black Lives Matter. How dare you? Like, if I were that guy, I would have said, how dare you? I am a black man in America, and you're going to ask me if I believe that Black Lives Matter? It's comical, some of this shit. And like, these people all think that they're just like the most brilliant, profound people because Twitter and social media tells them they're so brilliant and profound. They're not. They're morons. There's so many morons out there.
I just don't know how anybody can vilify this kid. Whether you agree with kneeling or you don't agree with kneeling, I just don't understand how this guy could possibly be a bad person.
It says here, I think that was, what is that name? Is that Malika or Malka Andrews of ESPN? That's a stupid question. That is a horrible question. How with a straight face do you do that? Like obviously you don't have to have a straight face because you're asking this via Zoom. But think about the absurdity of that for a second. The absurdity that a black man is asked a question about whether or not he believes that Black Lives Matter, all based on the fact that he didn't want to put forth some grand empty gesture like everyone else is doing.
The person who asked the question, if this is accurate, her name is Taylor Rooks of Bleacher Report.
Taylor Rooks of Bleacher Report.
Because she tweets, I asked Jonathan Isaac 2 questions. You didn't kneel during the anthem, but you also didn't wear a Black Lives Matter shirt. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? So then that would be her.
Oh, she asked 2 questions. Where was the second question in there? There was one question.
Can you explain what religion has to do with kneeling for the anthem to protest against racism and police brutality?
Yeah, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to explain it because it's his feeling. You've created this world where somehow kneeling for the national anthem is the grand gesture of, well, I care about black people because I kneel during the national anthem. It's not set in stone. As we talked about the other day, a stop sign has a meaning. When you see a stop sign, it means stop. Kneeling for the anthem can mean 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people, and he can feel how he wants to feel about it.
You know
why are you trying? Like, what are you doing trying to have a gotcha moment with a black? So not only are you you're not only trying to corner a black guy into being racist somehow, but you're also trying to be anti-religious in this too, you bitch.
Well, first of all, she hosts a long-form Bleacher Report series asking athletes 2 questions. That's why she plugs the 2 questions thing.
Okay.
It's called Take It There with Taylor Rooks.
Oh, I will gladly take it there.
If you want to know who is just commending her journalism.
Let me guess. Hold on. Sean King.
Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm Jenkins, the biggest fraud of them all. Mr. Teary Eyes. Mr. Crying over his friend not believing in his cause. Oh, yes. He, of course, yes.
He says questions were fair, valid, and respectful.
No,
Good
they weren't.
Journalism, Taylor Rooks.
You don't know what journalism is. You're on CNN now, so you know what journalism is. Oh, I got you. Come on, man. Give me a break.
Now tell me, does that make any sense to you?
Come on. That is not a good question. To ask someone if they believe he's a black dude. Like how these people are warped. You are all warped. You are all, and I mean Twitter, social media. You are warped. You are morons. You're all brainwashed political warriors out there fighting for politicians that don't give a damn about you. You asked a black guy if he believes Black Lives Matter because he didn't want to wear your stupid t-shirt and take a knee during the anthem because God forbid he has his own thoughts on things. God, there's no way a guy can believe Black Lives Matter if he won't take a knee and put a stupid nickname or a stupid slogan on the back of his jersey. Come on! Do you realize how ridiculous this is? Be better. Just be a better person. Be a better reporter. Be a better human. My God.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins says she's a great journalist.
Oh, what does he know? He's getting interviewed by Don Lemon. The best thing Don Lemon does is get blitzed on New Year's Eve. That's what he's known for. Great journalist. He's known for getting blitzed on New Year's Eve. Good. Oh God, it's out of control. It is out of control, man. Like again, I know I keep repeating this. Think about the absurdity of a woman getting credit for asking a black man if he believes Black Lives Matter.
Well, on this long-form Bleacher Report series, the 2 questions she asked athletes are, when did you realize being black meant something different than being white? And 2, define the word America.
Boy, that's some riveting shit there. I mean, holy cow, that is some good stuff.
So I will give her this. She's building her brand.
Well, you know what? That's what you got to do. I got to give her credit.
Yep.
That's how you become something. You appeal to idiots. Like that somehow. Here's what I find.
She's got 146,000 followers. So I mean, she's
more
successful.
Power to you, sister.
Yeah.
Good for you. But let me tell you something. There are people that dealt with some real serious shit in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And again, I'm not the biggest Jabbar fan. But Kareem a couple weeks ago was talking about how it's wrong for people to just say all these awful anti-Semitic things about Jews. And he got crushed. Jabbar, a guy who grew up playing college ball in the 60s, grew up in the 50s. He grew up in Jim Crow era, man. He grew up in black people had 0 rights compared to white people. And this is a guy going, I mean, let's be better people on this. This is ridiculous. But to ask a black guy if he believes Black Lives Matter, again, I get why you're doing it. Now I understand your brand. So you're building your brand, and there's morons out there that will follow you that have no common sense whatsoever, and that's fine. You're trying to appeal to idiots, and idiots buy it, and that's fine. And people don't want to believe that Black Lives Matter is some sort of political group. Like the fact that the fact that this guy says, I believe Black Lives Matter, but I'm not going to wear a t-shirt, that should be something we applaud.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I believe it might have been, I forgot who it was over at Outkick. It might have been Whitlock who said that taking a knee is now the ice bucket challenge, essentially. But if you don't do it, you're a bad person. They have the balls to basically try to paint this white guy, and they'll be anti-religious because you know how the media is too. I'm not a religious guy. I don't judge you if you're religious, but I'm not religious, but what the media is also very against religion, and that what they'll try to do to this guy is turn him into some sort of religious wacko, and they will tear down his character. That is what they will do. This sounded like a pretty level-headed guy. This isn't like the Houston doctor lady, that the witch doctor that people want to rip. I can at least see why you'd make fun of her. But in this case, they will try to destroy this guy. It will be white people trying to destroy this guy. White media people will try to destroy this guy because he is religious and because he doesn't believe Black Lives Matter, I guess. And they'll take
Which is so absurd.
And it will be white people. It will be the same people you saw in all those shots when Trump won that were crying and everything. They are the ones that will do this. They are the worst of the crew. And Malcolm Jenkins, who's abysmal. And it sucks to say that because I used to really like Malcolm Jenkins, but Malcolm Jenkins is a lunatic. And he's basically Malcolm Jenkins. Actually, he's not a lunatic. He's smart. He's become a politician. He knows what he's doing. It's led to this job at CNN. He knows exactly what he's doing. He is a politician now. Malcolm Jenkins is a politician. That's why he had to, once you've got this brand, you can't leave the brand. You have to stay on brand. So he cries over Drew Brees without even calling Drew Brees. He cries about Drew Brees on the internet. Then he deletes it because he wants to make it seem like, I did something that's kind of bad. It's comical.
Now I'm hoping that this kid does not apologize for this, and I don't think he will.
If he does, I will lose faith in everything.
I don't think we're going to get a Drew Brees version 2.0 here, where he's going to have a complete 360 or 180. I never know that term.
Yeah. He's
going to completely turn his, the other way. I don't think that's going to happen here, but
jeez,
I guess we'll see the next time the Magic play a game.
Yep, and somehow he's going to be a bad guy.
Which is ridiculous.
And that's what people do. They bully you. They bully you, and that's what should also tell people, when you force them to make these gestures, they're empty gestures. They don't matter because you're being forced to do it. Forcing people to do something out of fear of being called racist or a bigot or homophobic or whatever, it's not a real gesture. It's completely disingenuous. But you still, you somehow accept it. It's all fake. Anyway, so tomorrow we'll probably get drunk with you here on Twitch.
I wonder if his teammates will start subtweeting about him. I'd look, but I don't know anybody who plays for the Magic.
I didn't even know the Magic still existed. I don't even know how they're allowed to play in this thing. Which is, by the way, this NBA bubble, it's one giant conspiracy to screw over my Memphis Grizzlies. It's obvious what they're doing because they want to put Zion. Zion, if they want to make the playoffs, maybe you play Zion in the last 10 minutes of the game, which they don't. Why do we baby these athletes? He's so young, we don't want to get him hurt. Well, they set this whole thing up to try to get Zion in the playoffs, and Zion's not even playing in crunch time of these games. Josh is excited for the Rockets. Yeah.
Your Mavs play tonight, though.
No, I'm excited for my Mavs.
You love them.
There's a big game tonight with my Mavs.
You love them.
And I can't wait to see.
We're only 20 minutes away from that, actually. Holy shit, it's late. I got to order a pizza.
All right, so we will say goodbye to the podcast people. See you, friends. So podcast, that part of the show is donezo today. If you guys would like to throw in some bits, I saw somebody suggesting a bits blitz. Hey, you know how to do it. Throw in that money. You can also save your money for tomorrow because, if we get lit tomorrow, party on, dude. Bits! Yay! All right, what was the main thing we talked about today?
The MLB, Fauci, Jonathan Isaac is his name, I believe.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien over Fauci.
You believe Black Lives Matter? Woke Wish. Woke Wish 5. White Life Splatter. Boy, that was a good bit. And just think, the guy who did that may have killed someone.
How about it?
I haven't heard an update. I don't know if Nick killed anybody or not. Let's see. Josh Ennis. Thank you for the bits, Krilla Gorilla. Josh Ennis and Jilly discuss the latest development with MLB. Jilly believes baseball won't make it to next weekend. Josh is still optimistic. I think I did. Thank you for the bits, Pogo Buckin and Pinche Pancho Villa. Let's see here. Can I get a definitive time for tomorrow so I don't drink all late like last Saturday? What time you want to go on tomorrow, Jelly?
I don't know. I hate committing to this. 8 o'clock?
I mean, I'd say, well, we could also start at like 9. We can start it later.
Well, we tried to do that last week and then we got too drunk.
Okay, so 8-ish.
I would say 8 Central.
8 Central. Thank you, Krilla Gorilla, and thank you, Dr. Greg, for the 1,000 bits. What a stud you are. Let's see here. Let's go. Josh hates Dr. Fauci, and well, hold on. Dr. Fauci gets schooled by his name Jim Jordan. And Josh is all about it. Jonathan Isaac, a black basketball player, is asked if he believes Black Lives Matter. Josh destroys the reporter who asked the question. Well, that's a solid one. I had no idea who that guy was, but I like him. Let's see. People keep pumping in bits. Thank you guys. You're awesome. Let's see. Put the logo on there. All right. So tomorrow, 8-ish, right? Maybe we'll check in with Allie, see what she's up to. Who knows? I mean, maybe or tomorrow we can go. You know, the other option is we just go live on my cell phone on Twitch and we just stay downstairs and watch shit on TV and hang out.
We've got options.
That if you guys would like to have some sort of new party for that, we can do that. I can offer that as a suggestion. We can just hang out in our living room and bet on shit. You guys can watch stuff with us, or we can come up here and do it. It depends. What a dumb woman. What a, just an opportunistic. The kind of shit that Nick Wright used to do that would piss me off. Like when they tried to corner Tom Herman when he was the coach of Houston. He's a douche for what it's worth. But they everything they would try to do was they tried to corner him all the time. Let's see, betting blitz on the couch tomorrow. We could do that. That's all I gotta do is, it's much easier than coming up here. I just turn on the phone and we can hang out and drink beer. Now, I don't have a tripod for it, so I don't know how we'd set up the phone, but we can manage. So, I mean, that's certainly a possibility. So, maybe that'll be what we do. We'll drink for a while, then we'll just stay downstairs, and who knows how long it'll go.
And you can also buy like an iPhone tripod, like at Best Buy and stuff, if you wanted to do that. You can go get that.
So, anyway.